Hey Sam, I just wanted to send you a video message this time just so that you can kind of get to know me a little bit more and have a face to the name. Sorry, the lighting is very bright here. Anyway, I hope you're doing well and staying sane at home and not gone too crazy. But anyway, this week I kind of wanted to talk about self-awareness. So we talked about a little bit about just self-talk and stuff like that on our emails before. But this is, I want to kind of go back a little bit and just talk about self-awareness and just becoming aware of like what you're saying and what you're doing and that kind of stuff. So I made another worksheet. I hope that you like the worksheets. I think that it can kind of help break things down a little bit and give you an idea of kind of where to start on some things. So before I talk about the worksheet that I'm sending you, I read this book and, oh gosh, I forget the name of it right now. But it talks about like getting into the zone basically and how you can get into that perfect mindset every single time. Living in the sweet spot is what it's called. So how do you get into that sweet spot every single time you train or compete or anything like that? And one of the things that I talked about was how a lot of times, especially in sports, we're so worried about what we're doing wrong and how can we improve what we're doing wrong. So we're oftentimes looking at our weaknesses to improve the weaknesses. Well, this book really talks about the 99%. So you're doing 99% of the things right. And I thought that was really cool because it's just a different way to think about it. Especially if you're showing up every single day and you're giving the effort and all that kind of stuff, then you are doing the 99% right. And that's not talked about a lot. And I think that that's really important to notice your strengths and what you're doing well, because it's too easy for us to fall into that pattern of like, oh, well, I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing this right. I need to get better at this. And this book really just talked about, well, let's look at the strengths and what are you good at and how can we get better at those things and how can we be proud of those things and use that to help our weaknesses. So I thought it was really cool. And I'm kind of just basing this week and this worksheet off of that. So one of the things in the book, she just had, I'm looking at the worksheet now, so I know what I'm talking about. She had you list 10 things that you respect about yourself. So that can be athletic, that can be educational, that can be just as a person in general. How are you as a daughter, a friend, any of that kind of stuff. So I made an example to give to you, which is based off of, my real answers. And some of the things that I just put was like commitment, my work ethic. I love to race. I'm coachable. I love the process. So I love everything about like the sport and what you do on a daily basis. So I just want you to put 10 things that you respect about yourself, because I think sometimes that can be really hard to admit and to kind of write down because, I don't know, it's weird to speak highly upon yourself, I guess. And especially if you're struggling with that self-confidence, it can be really difficult. So this is a big challenge, and I know you can do it. Then the other thing, there's only one other thing on this worksheet, and it's to think about a time where you just felt extremely confident going into a competition or a game. So when I like write these things, I think about swimming, and it's different than how you would probably speak about soccer. So just, give me a little slack there. But how do you feel going into a game that you're really confident about, where you've competed your best, and you left just knowing like that was the best game of your life? And so I have a couple questions for you to write about. How did you look? How did you feel? What were you thinking? And if there's any other important details that you want to write down. And for me, I have this very distinct like memory of being at swim meets where I've just felt on top of the world. And it's really easy for me to remember that and think about it. It's a little bit harder for me to write it down and be specific on some of those feelings. So just kind of do your best and write out as much as you can. I kept my answers relatively short and simple just to fit on the space of this document. But I think the biggest thing whenever I was writing it is like, man, I sound really cocky writing these things. So don't feel bad for feeling confident. And, you know, these are things that you want and just go tell your competition. These are things that you're telling, if you care to share with me, you're telling me, and that can be it. And so it's not like you're going into your next competition saying, oh, well, I look like I have this really big chest and my head's up, my chin's up. I feel really confident and I'm better than you. Like, you're not going to go and say those things. But that should be how you feel, right? Going into a competition, you should feel like you're better than everyone else. And you need to believe that, and you need to feel that. And there have been times where I know that you have felt that, or I hope that you have felt that. And it sounds like you probably have, based off of just hearing that you've had some success and you're a really good soccer player. So I'm not going to judge you on being like, oh my gosh, she sounds so cocky. I want you to sound cocky. That's the whole point of this. So just that's the goal for this week, is for you to kind of think about that, write it down, and then you can research the book. The book was really good. And just like Google self-awareness. There's going to be a lot of stuff on that, and it'll probably play off of self-talk, and we can get into that a little bit more. I think I want to next week talk about self-talk, because there are just certain keywords that I've started saying to myself when I notice myself going down that bad rabbit hole of like, I can't do this, and it's been able to kind of switch it. So we'll get into that a little bit more next week. But hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you ever want to video chat me and just talk, I'm very available at the time. So hope you're doing well. Bye.